For Vladimir Putin, at least some of these sanctions may feel a little bit personal. The U.S. has already been sanctioning some members of Russia's government and some of the country's elite. But this latest round of sanctions target Putin's two adult daughters, who the autocrat has actually made a concerted effort of keeping out of the public eye. Joining me now to talk more about the sanctions and what they actually mean, Lynette Lopez, a columnist for Business Insider. And Lynette, as you heard in my conversation with Ali there, you know, it's pretty much every other day we're hearing about new sanctions. And we've heard over and over again that sanctions actually don't deter. But do you think targeting Putin's family directly with sanctions could strike a chord that maybe some of the other sanctions didn't?
Well, I think you kind of have to understand the way Putin's money moves around the world and the way powerful Russian money moves around the world. A lot of these gentlemen, and they are all gentlemen, set up accounts for their family members, shell companies for their family members, in order to hide their wealth and their riches. And that is what the U.S. government thinks Putin is doing possibly does with his daughters, that some of the wealth that they have is actually Putin's ill-begotten gains. And so what they're trying to do, more than punishing Russia, is cut Russia and the people who run Russia off of from their resources. So this isn't just about deterring Russia. It's about making it harder for Russians to do the things that they're doing that finance the war machine. That includes Putin just living his everyday life.
In terms of what's left in the bucket of sanction options, it feels like Ukrainians continue to ask for us to do more. Are there any other sanctions we haven't done that could be implemented at this point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Europeans could go whole hog on blocking Russian energy. We're still, I think we either just did recently or we are still using Russian coal. We haven't fully cut Russia off. And I think that what the United States is also trying to do is trying to give Russia maybe a minute where the elites can be like, hey, maybe if we stop now, we can still get some of the 15, 20 years of economic gains that we made back. But it's looking more and more, the longer this goes on, obviously, the harder it's going to be for Russia to rejoin the economic system. And the more they'll be isolated and have to trade with countries like China, India, Iran, that have not formed this blockade.
And that actually coincides with Ali Velshi was just telling us. The folks on the ground actually have an awareness of that fact, too. NBC's Andrea Mitchell sat down with Secretary Antony Blinken, and I want to play you some of his comments because I thought it was interesting, given the fact that I even had the thought, I was like, are there more sanctions? What more sanctions can we do? Take a listen to what he said about some of the loopholes.
Putin, in the space of a matter of weeks, has basically shut down Russia to the world. All of the opening and all of the opportunity that took place over the last 30 years is gone. And the Russians will feel that, I'm afraid, in their daily lives. They won't be able to buy the things they're used to buying. They won't be able to afford to buy what they'd like to buy.
You know, Andrea was asking him there about some of the loopholes in some of these sanctions that the administration has continually tried to close. How do you think Vladimir Putin and the economy in Russia can respond to the additional sanctions you've mentioned that need to be implemented to actually allow the people and the economy in Russia to feel that real pain you were talking about?
Well, there's only so much oil Russia can get to the countries that are accepting oil and other commodities from it. China, there's a geographical issue because a lot of where Moscow produces and refines its commodities is centered toward Western Russia. China is all the way on the other side of the world. The United States is patrolling the seas. And so we're trying to make sure that they're not getting goods out to the rest of the world. We're making things more complicated for them. So, yes, we're doing a lot, but there's still stuff that we can do. The question is what it does to us, really. The global economy is already suffering from inflation, and skyrocketing commodities prices will only make things worse. And it's very hard to maintain this kind of united front against Russia if Western countries are dealing with populist or super right-leaning politics taking over their countries. I mean, look at France right now. We already saw Viktor Orban triumph in Hungary. If we want to make sure that the West is stable so that we can continue this for the long haul, because I don't think that Russia is going to back down anytime soon. Even if they did, take all their toys and go home, it would only be for a brief period. I think Putin is dead set on this. So we have to make sure that there's stability in the West too. And in countries like Romania, people use 12% of their income to pay for energy already. So if you have commodities prices spike up in vulnerable countries, even in Mississippi, people use like 15% of their income to pay for energy. So when those prices go up, you have real strain on populations all around the world. We need to make sure that we walk a really delicate line between punishing Russia and punishing ourselves.
Lynette Lopez, it's really helpful to have you help make the connections, because sometimes people don't make that connection between energy costs and what's happening on the ground in Russia, or how it is affecting them every day. And I think that we have to make these connections because the world is interconnected. Thank you for being here, and please stay safe.
Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.